Welcome to the Talking Book Voices, the podcast. Get ready to embark on the adventure with us as we dive into and celebrate the magic of the Texas Talking Book Program. Let's raise our voices together and make the world of literature accessible for all. The Texas Talking Book Program is a division of the State Library and Archives Commission and serves as a regional library for the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, a division of the Library of Congress. The Talking Book Program provides specialized library services to individuals who have a qualifying visual, physical, or reading disability, such as dyslexia. In each episode of the Talking Book Voices, we'll delve into the heart of the program, uncovering its history, sharing inspiring stories, and exploring the vast collection of materials it has to offer. We'll bring you the latest updates, interviews with program experts and patrons, and useful tips to make the most of this invaluable program for Texans and beyond. So whether you're an avid reader, someone who with a print disability seeking accessible materials, or just curious to learn about this great program, this podcast is made for you. Don't forget to visit us at www.texastalkingbooks.org for more information. So let's begin the Texas Talking Book Voices, a podcast by the Texas State Library and Archives Commission.
Hello, TBP Voices listeners. My name is Laura Jakopak, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Talking Book Studio. That's where we record books and magazines for our patrons. I'm here to share a little bit of the behind-the-scenes action that's involved in the production of the audiobooks and magazines that we work on throughout the year. After our volunteers have recorded and reviewed the books or the magazines, the materials are turned over to the true magic makers, our audio technicians. Today, we'll be hearing from John Densmore and Shane Elam. So let's get into it. Hi, John.
Hello. Hi, Laura.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, happy to be here.
Thanks for coming away from your busy work schedule to chat with me. I just have a couple questions. I'm curious, can you give a brief description of what an audio technician is?
Yeah, an audio technician is someone who works with audio, a lot of audio equipment and audio production. In Shane and I's case, we are making sure that the microphones all work correctly. We're doing the editing, post-production after the books have been recorded. We mark up the books to put the chapters in. Do help a little bit with, I guess, what would be audio book production, but I would say Laura sets up a lot of the production in terms of thinking ahead about how the book's going to be planned, who's going to be recording it. We're involved with that a little bit, so we go a little bit beyond what would be the standard technician kind of role, because we're also thinking in terms of how it's going to be when it's finally done. Shane and I also work with that part of it. We work with the end result, which would be like the compression of it, the export of the files, making sure they go up to the system to where they can get played, come back in the BARD application, and also to the little discs that you get in the mail. And there's a whole other world to that, but I don't want to go into the granular details completely of that. But our main role here is basically making sure that all the audio tools are correctly working, like microphones, and making sure that the computer applications are working correctly so they can be recorded, and then doing what they call post-production. That's the short and long of it.
Nice, thank you. It sounds very detailed and like a lot of balls in the air. How long have you done this work?
For here at Talking Book Program, it's coming up on 3 years. It's not exactly 3 years, but I'll just roughly estimate 3 years here. I had also done audio technician work where I was doing sound for musical groups and music venues for a couple of years, like bars and other small venues. And I went to school for musical engineering for a while, and then multimedia production. I have a master's in library science, so that helps with a lot of the other details about the work that we do, because it's so book oriented. It goes beyond just being just audio work for us. There's a lot of kind of more librarian skills that also come into play, or multimedia type production skills that come in here.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's a lot of time put into learning how to do this work, but I would say here specifically 3 years.
And you feel like it took you, what, like a year to start to feel comfortable with what you were doing?
I would say it probably took a couple years to be able to actually do the work well. And we're still learning every day.
That makes sense. What are the most challenging aspects of your work?
Well, the most challenging aspects of the work would be that we are working with recordings. We have computers that we're working with, so there end up being computer problems. So that's one issue that comes up. But generally, the humans involved, the volunteers are pretty dependable, I would say. Think about how many people are volunteering. I mean, is it roughly 100 people?
We have approximately 100 at this time.
And, and I think in the last 6 months, there's probably been 2 books, maybe more, that really weren't completed out of all those people.
Yeah.
So they're super dependable and they show up all the time.
What does a typical day look like for you?
A typical day would be go to my desk, start up the computer, check my email, look at the production database, talk to Laura.
That's me.
And talk to Shane, possibly Jacqueline.
Jacqueline's our boss.
And just to see about what the day looks like. I'll look at the calendar. So the production database is basically telling me what work is available or where it's at, what stage it's at in the production cycle. The emails are giving me updates about what's been done, in the last day or so, what possible changes there could be that Laura is notifying us about, like if someone suddenly got a dental appointment and they're not going to be here today, so they need another monitor. So also as audio technicians, we will step in and do roles that usually would be assigned to volunteers, but we will take their place if needed, if they're out for the day. If something needs to be re-recorded or fixed or whatever, those things are coming in those emails. So that and then things just kind of come up. So each day we're looking at those production databases, we're looking at the emails, we're talking to each other, looking at the calendar, seeing what's going on for the day. So that's the beginning. And then from there, it's like, well, okay, so then am I going to master some files today? Or am I going to kind of finish up the production on a born digital book, is what we call a book that's actually recorded in the studio? Or am I working with an audio transfer, like a reel-to-reel or a cassette? And they each have their own aspects to them and their own details. So there's working with those.
In addition to working with the recordings that our volunteers have put together, you and Shane are also like taking the old analog materials, stuff that's been recorded in the past, but since technology has evolved, you're taking that and you're digitizing it, to preserve all that work our previous folks have done.
Yes, we are. We do 4-track reel-to-reel.
Oh, wow.
So we have reel-to-reel machines here that we work with, and there's a whole other technical aspect to that in terms of like cleaning them and then being able to use this old equipment. We're using 4-track cassette tape machines to transfer work, and they all have their own production specifics to them.
When you say production specifics, what do you mean?
Well, say like when they are recorded, they're pitched up, so they get recorded at a faster speed. A tape has a specific pitch change that has to happen to it, a cassette tape versus a reel-to-reel. We denoise the tape after they've been transferred. There's a whole mastering job that we're doing to this audio. And the reel-to-reels, the born digital, and like a cassette tape all have specifics to them that are unique to them in themselves when they're being worked with. With the cassettes and with the reel-to-reels, we record or put together new intros and outros for them. There's notifications that go with each one specifically for the type that it is that you would have with the cassette tape versus digital's.
Wow, it sounds complicated.
Yeah. So it's all unique. We also do NLS conversions, which is a 4th type, which is another conversion that we're downloading. And they have their own set of instructions that are specific to create beginnings and endings and how to mark them up. So that's a 4th type that we're doing. So yeah, there's a lot to it, and each one gets marked up. We're adding chapter markers. We're adding intros and outros. You're listening to the book if you don't have the book to look at, which we get from archive.org, or if we have the physical book, we're looking at the copies to find out where the chapters are, Some of these books have many details. When you have like cookbooks or something in Spanish or something, so you're finding someone that's a volunteer that speaks Spanish that can help you to be able to translate and look at these things and understand. So that's part of the day. They each have their own production cycle and the way that they're done. And when those are all done, we encrypt them specifically, compress them, and make them so as that they're protected and they can only be played in talking book players. We're also managing the database from NLS to make sure that these books get approved and that they play correctly. And there's a lot of different things that happen throughout the day.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Is there anything else before we switch over to Shane that you would like to share with our listeners?
Oh, yes. I'm just always continually surprised at how many people come from Austin and outlying cities that volunteer here that put in their efforts to make the program work.
They are amazing indeed. Thank you. Thank you for chatting with me. We're going to switch out now. John stepped out and he is now monitoring for us, and we have Shane with us.
Hello.
So, Shane, how long have you been doing this work?
I have been with the Talking Book program. It'll be 4 years coming up on Valentine's Day. But I've been in radio since 95.
Whoa.
Which makes me old.
Me too. What are the most challenging aspects of your work?
I think it's juggling, but it's also kind of the most fun part of the work because, we have different volunteers coming in every day. We have our magazine cycles. We have audiobooks might be transferring from NLS.
What, for you, does a typical day look like?
I guess getting back to that, I think one of the things I like most about the job is there kind of isn't a typical day because there's different volunteers. I guess like you have typical Mondays because of our regular Monday volunteers or regular Tuesday volunteers or etc. But the ebbs and flows kind of go with the volunteers. But, it's kind of different every day and there's different challenges. We have our digitization. Sometimes they're super easy and you can go through them in a breeze, and sometimes they take a lot of TLC to get them sounding good for our patrons.
When you say TLC, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Processing, like denoising. Sometimes that you have naturally in recording, you'll have a 60 cycle hum, which comes from U.S. electricity has a 60 hertz signal. So you might have little thumps in there that you have to get rid of. Somebody might have a cough in there you have to get rid of. Nuances of the recording that you're processing at the time.
Oh, I see. What's the most surprising thing you've learned while working here at the studio?
There are a whole range of romance genres that I never knew existed.
Like what, for example?
The one that was most surprising to me was the Texas historical romance.
That's its own specific genre.
Yeah, we've converted a few of them. It's like a frontier romance, except for Sam Houston shows up, or Travis, or Stephen F. Austin shows up in their community or whatever in the romance.
Sounds intriguing. I'm into it. What's something you know about the process now that you wish you'd known when you first started?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if there's anything about the process. There's the technicalities that you don't get to until you're actually doing the job. I wish I knew the job existed. Yeah, I would have loved to have come aboard the Talking Book program much sooner in my career, but I don't know if there was anything I would say particularly that I wish I'd known before I started here.
Thank you. Is there anything else you would like our listeners to know or anything else you'd like to share?
We appreciate our patrons. Give us your feedback and keep enjoying your talking books. We're trying to get your books out to you as quickly and as best that we possibly can.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, John. And thank you for listening. John, Shane, and I hope you enjoyed hearing from us. Recording Studio, signing out.